What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. Thank you so much for pressing play. As you guys know by now, the C8 Corvette Z06 has been revealed, and today we get some footage from the Peterson Museum of the Z07 packaged car, and we have some questions that are going to be answered that are on everybody's mind. So let's jump right into it. Real quick though, guys, if you could please smash that thumbs up button, let me know you are liking the content so we can help break that YouTube algorithm and get this out to as many automotive enthusiasts as possible. I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel and it helps this video get circulated as much as possible so nobody misses this information. While you're at it, if you could please smash that subscribe button, that definitely helps out the channel and it makes sure that you do not miss any future content like this. Alright guys, so today we have some footage, like I said, of the Z07 package. It's just basically an overview of the car, and we're going to answer some questions about the Z07 that no one seems to really know the answer to, minus a couple different blog sites that I pulled some random information from so I could share it with you guys. Now, today's footage comes to us from a friend. It comes to us from Jeremy Wellborn. I will link his channel in the description down below, but he did an absolutely fantastic job going over the Z07 packaged car and just really getting into all the nooks and crannies and really showing us what this car is going to offer. So while we get to look at this beautiful masterpiece, we're going to talk about some of the questions that are on everybody's minds with the Z07 package. A lot of questions were not answered in the Z06 reveal video, so we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about some of the information I've been able to find on the blog sites. And while we're talking about it, I'm going to let this beautiful Z07 footage play in the background. Again, thanks to our friend Jeremy Wellborn. All of his YouTube information will be in the link down below. He has given me permission to use any of his videos, so I may throw in a couple other ones that he took while at the Peterson Museum. I was not able to make it there, so thankfully somebody was able to share some footage with me so we could talk about this and really nail down some of these details. So we're going to start where everybody should start with the Z06, and that is in the engine bay. As usual, guys, the C8 Corvette is, of course, mid-engine, and the Z06 is no different. That engine is still in the rear, and it brings us a 5.5 liter V8 engine with a flat plane crank producing 670 horsepower and 460 torque. Now, moving right on from that, Jeremy gives us a very good view of the trunk. There had been some questions in the beginning as to whether or not that trunk was going to be resized because of the exhaust pipes running out the center, and sure enough, it is not. It is the exact same size we have with the base C8 Corvette, or if there is any resizing at all, it is very microscopic because it looks identical. Now, the same can actually be said for the front. In the front, it is the exact same size. There is no resizing whatsoever, even though there are additional components in the front of the car. So we will talk more about that in a second. Of course, from the front of the car, you could tell there is a lot of added aerodynamics. There is a slightly different bumper shape. And of course, the Z06 in its general form is 3.6 inches wider than the base C8 Corvette. The Z07 does not get any wider, but it does add additional aero that actually makes it look a little bit wider. Now, I've actually seen online that there are higher wattage fans on the front radiators to keep this car cool. So basically, you guys already know the center of the car has an additional radiator over the base C8 Corvette. And behind that extra radiator is a higher wattage fan to really just blow through there and make sure that that thing is constantly staying cool. We're going to touch a little bit more on the temperatures of the car here in a second when we start talking more about specifics of the engine. But ultimately, I just wanted to let you guys know that that extra radiator in the front is not just the only difference in the front, but we also have, like I said, the higher wattage fans to really make sure everything stays cool up there alongside the added aerodynamic bits. And none of that affects the size of the frunk. So frunk and trunk, same size as the base C8. Staying on the topic of cooling, over on the driver's side, on the side vent or scoop area, you can actually visibly see the heat exchanger in there now, whereas on the base C8, there was a heat exchanger, but it was further back and you were not able to see it. Not only can you see them, but they also appear to be larger than the base C8 Corvette's heat exchangers in those side scoops as well. So again, cooling is the name of the game, and I appreciate GM's attention to detail here because the C7 Corvette Z06 did have some cooling concerns in the beginning, and obviously they do not want that same thing happening again here. Since they don't want that happening, they are throwing gigantic radiators at this thing, extra wattage fans. This thing is going to stay cool, and that's awesome. On the topic of cooling and kind of on the topic of maintenance, it has been confirmed that there will be the same access for engine oil changes as on the base C8 Corvette. So the Z07 Z07 package and the Z06 will, of course, both have that new 5.5 liter V8 flat plane crank engine, but your access to doing your own oil changes remains unchanged. You can still do it yourself. The drain plugs and the filter are all in the same location. But what is interesting is that they changed the oil from the 0W40 that they typically required in the C8 Corvette to a 5W50 oil requirement to help maintain a strict no overheating on the track type policy. So the additional cooling on this car actually allows that 5W50 to last longer in the car because it's not heating up as much as it has on previous generations or even previous iterations of this C8 Corvette, which again is really freaking awesome because we don't necessarily want a repeat of the C7 Corvette Z06, and the main concern there was oil temperatures while on the track. So this one looks to fix that issue. Moving away from cooling, but still sticking to the track focus part of this car, I have been told that there is no need to add the extra 2 quarts of dual clutch transmission fluid to the Z06 with the Z07 package because it already comes with it. Thank God that this is done, because I thought that that was one of the weirdest things for the base C8 Corvette to not come with those extra 2 quarts. I understand why they did it to some degree, but at the same time, it didn't make sense because there was such a small difference in miles per gallon anyway. If that was even necessarily accurate, just put the extra 2 quarts in there. It was such a pain to add it, and it was fairly expensive to add it. I'm so glad to see that this car is just going to get it right off the bat. So again, the car is track focused. It's ready to go. There's already the 2 quarts in there. You can literally just take the car, put it on the track, and it will be good. Another really cool option that has made its way back to the Z06 and Z07 is the fact that the engine is hand built, and you can go down to the Bowling Green plant and help build your own engine. That will be an option. And if you help build your own, I've been told that instead of the builder's name on that plaque on your engine, you can actually put your name on that plaque, which is freaking phenomenal. I love that idea. If that's actually the case, which I have not confirmed yet, but if it is, I will be doing that for sure because I would love to have my own signature on there. That is so cool. Moving back a little bit from the engine though, guys, the Z07 package has 784 pounds of downforce. That is 6% more downforce and 8% less drag than the C7 Corvette ZR1 with that ZTK package. Now, I find this stat to be interesting, but I've seen this plastered all over the internet because I know right off the bat, I'm gonna have to do some research on this because the ZR1 supposedly had almost 1,000 pounds of downforce. So I'm not sure how Chevy is calculating this and whether or not they're only talking about the rear spoiler versus the ZR1 package was the rear spoiler and the front lip combined was almost 1,000. I'm thinking that the Z07 package must just be the rear spoiler creating somewhere around 784 pounds of downforce because otherwise I'm not sure where they're getting that number. Stay tuned for an update on that one. Interestingly enough, we did get an answer on the weight of this car. So if you guys have watched the Z06 reveal, you'll notice that they did not talk about the weight at all. But it has been confirmed to me from a couple different blog sites that the dry weight of the Z07 package car is in fact 3,450 pounds. So that puts it right around 84 pounds more than the base C8. But my concern there is that the curb weight of the C8 is 3,366 pounds, whereas I'm being told that the dry weight of the Z07 package car is that 3,450. I hope that that's not necessarily the truth because dry weight is, of course, without oil, without gas, without coolant. It is literally a totally dry car. And if that is the way it's going to be calculated, you're going to add another 100 to 200 pounds after all of that coolant and everything is put in the car as well. So hopefully 3,450 is the curb weight, and that's only 84 pounds more than the base C8. I was hoping for a weight reduction, but it is what it is, I suppose. And at the end of the day, it's not that much more than the C8. And of course, we're still not talking about a 4,000 pound car here, so it's still not terrible. Another interesting thing that was pointed out in the video from Speed Phenom, again, check out his channel, I'll link his in the description down below as well, is an Easter egg. For the 70th edition of the Corvette, of course, for the 2023 model year, is on the back window and it just says 70. I will put a quick picture in here for you guys to see. And moving on to the interior, the carbon fiber level 2 package interior will actually be available on all Z06s and the Stingrays starting for the 2023 model model year. I think that that's fantastic because that carbon fiber interior looks so freaking good. It is definitely an option that I'm going to check, and it takes that normal carbon fiber interior and just puts it on steroids. It throws carbon at everything. It looks so much more premium, and on the Z06, it is right at home. Now, what I found to be really interesting is, again, in Speed Phenom's video, Taj himself says that the Z07 package Z06 will hang with the C7 ZR1, but for the entire race, it would actually be faster than the ZR1. He describes this as being the case because as the C8 Z06 goes around the track, it goes around, it's actually burning gas, which is making the car lighter, and the tire fade isn't quite as high as it was with the C7 generation because of that front engine architecture. So the C8 is able to actually outperform the ZR1 because the ZR1 will get tired after a while, whereas the C8 Z06 will continue to actually go faster due to that lighter weight from the gas being burned. I find that to be very interesting. This is just a gigantic reason why the mid-engine architecture was the way to go with the C8 Corvette. It has a lot of performance advantages, and of course, that's just one of them. So basically, if the C8 Corvette can be touted by the head guy at GM as being faster than the C7 ZR1, that is gigantic. So big props to GM for that one. Something that I've come across a couple times on the internet, different blog sites are talking about those rockets that you have all seen cast into the side of the actual engine block and everything. The rockets on the engine are actually because of the fact that the design team called this whole project a moonshot, meaning they weren't really sure if they were going to be able to accomplish any of this in the beginning. And the fact that it did end up getting accomplished is awesome by itself, but the fact that they're acknowledging how freaking out there this whole idea was by stamping it into the engine block is just awesome. I love these little Easter eggs that the Corvette team are constantly throwing at us. Now, for those of you wondering, the base Corvette Z06 wheels are finally forged aluminum as well. So whether you get the Z07 with those carbon fiber wheels or you get the base Z06, you are getting a very strong built wheel regardless. Any of you out there with the C7 Corvette kind of know what I'm aiming at here. There has been a lot of issues with the wheels on those cars, and the C8 Z06 at least is finally setting out to fix that problem. On that note, the Z07 carbon fiber wheels were confirmed by Taj to have been made in conjunction with the Carbon Revolution company. So these carbon fiber wheels are not GM's first attempt at carbon fiber wheels, so good luck. They are made by a very well-known company that is very much so into the idea of making carbon fiber wheels, so I'm very confident that these things are going to be absolutely perfect. Now, another thing that I actually saw confirmed by Taj on other blog sites was that you could order this car in the spring of 2022, and the early deliveries should be happening sometime in the summer/fall of 2022. So I'm expecting probably a March-ish type date for actual orders to start being put in, and some of the early people getting theirs around July, August, and that falling all the way into October, November of 2022. But again, guys, this car is going to be pretty hard to get, at least at the beginning, because of the order demand and the fact that it's kind of hard to build a car nowadays, it seems. So even the base C8 is really struggling with keeping up with demand. And I don't think that the Z06 is going to be any different. In fact, it may be worse. So if you guys are really wanting to get one of these cars, hopefully you were on a list already, because if you waited until now to get one, you might be a little late. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Again, I just want to give a huge thank you to Jeremy Wellborn for letting me use his Z07 package footage from the Peterson Museum. And a big thank you to Speed Phenom for asking all the right questions over there at the Peterson Museum as well. Again, guys, links in the description below. If you have not checked out either one of those two channels, you definitely should. They have a wealth of knowledge of the C8 Corvette over there. And of course, I know you guys are all here for as much C8 Corvette information as possible. So if you want as much info as you possibly can, you want to watch my channel, but you also want to watch theirs. Anyway, guys, if you liked what you saw here, please smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking it so we can help break the YouTube algorithm and get this out to as many people as possible. It will help my channel out, and I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to have loads of C8 Corvette information like this coming that you are not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.